Oh, hi there. Thanks for showing up for your learning. I certainly appreciate you taking the time for your exam preparation to get nice and ready and to review all of these concepts that we've looked at over the year. So let's take a look at what we're going to be wanting to achieve in the Rationals and Applications unit here. And I want to talk a little bit about how to use this checklist. So this checklist is a list of the skills that you may encounter on the exam. There's a couple things that we'll eliminate, but for the most part, this is all going to be there. And so we can use this checklist to just make sure that we're prepared. So let's take a look at the different questions. And as we go through questions, we can say, all right, I have conquered that learning objective. Here we've been asked to reduce the following fractions to lowest terms. And here with 6 over 24, I can write that as a multiplication. 6 I could just write as 6. 24 I could write as 6 times 4. Okay? 6, well, I could write that as 6 times 1. And then we'll go ahead and get out our cancellation pen and cancel these extra factor 6's there. So that's just equal to 1 over 4. This is how I think of it. You may notice that, 6 goes into 24 4 times. So I can leave a 4 in the basement, living downstairs. And that would also be correct. 14 over 98. Well, let's take a look at this one. When the numbers get a little bigger, you could do the following. All right. You can go ahead and create a factor tree on the side. It's like this. 14, well, that's easy. It's divisible by 2. That leaves me 7, and then I'm done. So these are my prime factors of 14, 2 and 7. 98, on the other hand, holy, 98. First, check for divisibility by 2. Yes, it's divisible by 2. That would be 2 and 49. 49. Now check for divisibility by 3. The way you check for that is adding the digits together and seeing if the digit sum is divisible by 3. 4 plus 9 is 13. 13 is not divisible by 3, so this number is not divisible by 3. Now check divisibility by 5. Check the primes. 2, 3, 5, 7, 11, and so on. Okay, this is not divisible by 5 because it does not end in a 0 or a 5. Now let's check for divisibility by 7. Oh yeah, it is. It's 7 squared. Some of you have been shouting that at the screen for a little while. Cool. So I noticed that 98 actually has a 14 in it. It has a 2 times a 7. So 14 over 98 could be written as 2 times 7 over 2 times 7 times 7. All right, those are my prime factors. These will cancel those. And so I'm left with 1 is left on the top, 1, 7. Because that was multiplied by 1 up there. So I'm left with 1, 7. Okay, so that is reducing fractions to lowest terms. We got it. So this is how you use your checklist. If you're really confident, say got it. If you're not, maybe you circle it. Or maybe you put a question mark next to it. Or maybe you say email Mr. Jennings. Or maybe you're going to ask Mr. Jennings a question during class. You find some way to get the help you need. Maybe you're going to email your friend who's really good at this stuff. Okay, now let's convert these to different things. So we're going to convert 3 and 2/7 to an improper fraction. All right, so we want to know that 3 and 2/7, well, I could write 3 as 21/7. That's this number 3. And then 2/7, well, 3 and 2/7 is 21 over 7 and 2 over 7. So then we can add those together. So that's 23 over 7. The denominator stays the same when we add these things together. This is one way to do this. Another way that I see people do it is they go 3 and 2/7. And so they kind of go in a wheel like this. They do this multiplied by that, and then they add this, okay? And this is what that will look like, all right? So you'll do 3 times 7, so that's 21 plus 2. And then you keep the 7 on the bottom. That's one little method you can do to do these. Okay, now, if we want to convert this to a mixed number, let's just go a little bigger here. I think you'll like that. Okay, 39 over 5. And we want to write this as a mixed number. Well, what I'll do is first check for the biggest multiple of 5, that's still smaller than 39, and I'll take that out. So I could write this as 35 plus 4 divided by 5. Okay? And 35 divided by 5 is just 7. So that's equal to 7 and 4/5. That's my mixed number version. These are done final answers. All right, so we've gotten another skill. We've done improper fractions and mixed numbers. Hooray. Let's keep going. All right, order the following list from least to greatest. Okay, so one way to approach these types of things where we've got percents, we've got fractions, we've got decimals, is to convert them all to the same thing. The easiest thing to convert them all to would probably be decimals. And then you can compare their sizes much more easily. Also, another thing to note is all of these numbers are positive, so there's no tricky, oh, the negative is the smallest one thing. Let's carry on. So let's write 25% as 0.25. To convert a percent to a decimal, you just move the decimal place two that way, towards the, to make it smaller, okay? Because 25% is less than 1. It's less than 100. So this is 25%. 2 over 5, well, you would do this on your calculator. And your calculator will tell you that that's 0.4. But don't take my word for it. Here we go. Calculator, okay? How do I convert 2 over 5? I do it. 2 over 5 means 2 divided by 5. And then push equals, and it tells me it's 0.4. That's how that's done. This is 0.4. That's pretty big. 0.29, that's just 0.29. 18 over 50 happens to be 0.36. And your calculator will tell you the same thing. Okay, you go 18 divided by 50 equals 0.36. 32% is 0.32. And then 0.43 is 0.43. Now, you are asked to put this list in order from least to greatest. Don't please number the decimals in order least to greatest. Please put the original list in its original form. So let's go ahead and find the least. The least will be already there. So this is our final answer line, 25%. Okay, a little bit bigger than 25% is 0.29. So put a comma, 0.29, put a comma. And then next, a little bit bigger would be 0.32, but that was given to us as 32%, comma. And then next, we had 0.36. It's going to be next. So that's 18 over 50. Put a comma. And then 2 over 5. And then the biggest one is 0.43. And that's done. So we go back to our sheet, and we've done comparing fractions, decimals, and percents. Okay. Oh, another thing I wanted to show you were some ideas about how to check your answers. You want to be able to check your answers and feel confident about these things. So the thing I just showed you would be helpful for like questions like this one, making sure you have that correct. If I do 6 divided by 24, that's the operation that's given right there. Okay, and I say equals is 0.25. Okay, if I do 1 divided by 4 equals, also 0.25. So they are the same. This is the same as that, and I can use a calculator to check. Let's keep going. All right, so now we're going to perform the following operations. Operations are things like multiply, add, divide, subtract. We're going to do these things. You want to be able to do these things very well. All right, 5 over 2 times 10 over 7. Okay, first thing that I check with these types of problems is cancellations. There are no cancellations available here, except for 10 and 2. Okay, 10 is divisible by 2, so I can go ahead and do this 2 ways. I'll show you the way I don't like first, and then I'll show you the way I like second. First way that I don't really like is you multiply top times top, which is 50, divided by bottom times bottom, which is 14. And then you say, ooh, 50 and 14, they both have a factor 2 in them. Who would have thought? And then you remove the factor 2, so you'd say that's 25 times 2, that's 50, and 7 times 2, that's 14. Go ahead, get your cancel pen out, cancel, cancel, and then that leaves you with 25 over 7 as your final answer. Okay, it's fine here, but if I had like 4 factors that were going to cancel, and you multiplied them in, then took them out, that's like mixing up your Lego before you sort it. Just sort it from whatever situation it's in. It's already kind of sorted for you. Okay, here, what I like to do is cancel at the level of the question. So I just cancel that 2 and that 10. 10 divided by 2 is 5, so it leaves a 5 there. 5 times 5 is 25. 1 times 7 is 7. 25 over 7, done. Okay, here, with this type of question, you can do it a couple ways. So the first way would be to convert these to improper numbers, or improper fractions, and then add them together with the common denominator. Another way is to write it this way. And this is what I would do in this case, is I would write this as 2 plus 1 plus little space here, 3 over 4 plus 1 over 5. And then I'll create my common denominator for those fraction pieces. So the 3 over the 4 needs to be multiplied top and bottom 5 and 5, because 4 and 5, my common denominator will be 20. And then over here, I'm going to multiply top and bottom by 4. Okay? I'm allowed to multiply top and bottom by the same thing, because that's multiplying by 1. It doesn't change the number. Right? So now we've got 2 plus 1, that's 3. And then 5 times 3 is 15 over 20 plus 4 over 20. And now I can do that addition there. So this is equal to 3 and 19/20. Done. If I wanted to do that a different way, this is what it would look like. I would convert these to mixed numbers. So this one is 11/4. That's 2 3/4. Plus 1 1/5. That's 6/5. Scale these up. So this one will be multiplied top and bottom by 5 over 5. And this one would be top and bottom by 4 over 4. Same thing to create your common denominator here. So this is equal to 55 plus 24 over 20. Okay. 55 plus 24 happens to be 79 over 20. And then 79 over 20, you could write that as 60 plus 19 over 20. 60 plus 19 is just 3 and 19/20, which is the same answer we got over there. But I would also take that as the final answer. That's a reduced fraction. That's just as useful. Now, let's do the division. With the division, on the other hand, I would turn these into mixed numbers. Improper fractions. Right now they're mixed numbers. I don't like that. For division purposes, it's not. There's no cool shortcut here like just adding the units and then adding the fractions and then putting it all together. There's no shortcut like that here. So 3 2/3, that's the same thing as 11/3 divided by 7/6. And that's the same thing as flip and multiply. So that's 11 over 3 multiplied by 6 over 7. When you're dividing, you flip the one you're dividing by. So now we can go ahead and notice that there's a cancellation available. There's a 6 living upstairs and a 3 living downstairs. That's going to leave a 2. So final answer, this is equal to 22 over 7. Okay, I'm coming back, don't worry. Just need to turn the lights on for you. Oh, hi, Angel. So, 5 over 7 minus 2/5. So let's go. In these cases, just like when we were adding, we need to create a common denominator. Notice, I don't need a common denominator here. I don't need it there either. Okay, it's only in the case where you're adding and subtracting do you need that common denominator. So let's go ahead and create it. All right, so 7 and 5 on the bottom. I see that the common denominator is 35. 7 and 5 don't share factors. So we're going to multiply this one, top and bottom, by 5, and this one, top and bottom, by 7. Okay. So here, 5 times 5 gave us 25. 2 times 7 is 14. And I keep a minus in here. You see this is minus this one, so that stays minus. We're going to do 25 minus 14 all over 35. Okay, 25 minus 14 gives you 11. So this is final answer 11 over 35. And 11 and 35 don't share factors. 11 is prime, and 35 is not divisible by 11. So that's actually the fully reduced form. All right, go back to this sheet and say, hooray, operations with fractions and mixed numbers. We got this. All right, now let's take a look at the missing value in these fractions. Okay, they've got like a variable there, and a variable there, and we want to find these things. So here are some ways to do that. Okay, so 5 over 7 is equal to something over 21. Okay, one thing that you could notice here is you could say, well, I can multiply top and bottom by 3 here, and 3 times 7 will give me 21, so 3 times 5 will give me the answer 15. But let me show you another way. It does not rely on just basically spotting the answer or the secret to the answer. So I've got 5 over 7 is equal to some number I don't know yet, divided by 21. If I'm dividing a number I don't know yet by 21, and I don't want to divide it by 21, go ahead and multiply both sides by 21. All right, so I'm just going to multiply both sides by 21. Now this cancels this, and this is equal to x. But Mr. Jennings, I thought that x was 15. Well, it is. Watch this. 21 and 7 share a factor. They share the factor 7. So 7 will cancel the 7 that's in the 21 and leave you the other factor 3, because 21 is 7 times 3. So then you end up with 3 times 5 on the top, and you'll know that 3 times 5 is 15. So this is 15 is equal to x. Cool. That's how you solve that type of problem. Now, 6 over 24 is equal to 2 over some number. Oh, well, that's going to be, geez, 8. Yeah, it's 8. Okay, so how do we solve these ones? Well, you can notice that I could multiply this top and bottom like by 3 to get these numbers. So I better divide this one by 3 to get that number. So I would divide 6 by 3 and divide 24 by 3 to get 8. But let me show you a more step-by-step way for these types of problems where your unknown is on the bottom. First step, well, you're going to copy it out on your whiteboard or wherever you're doing your work. 6 over 24 is equal to 2 over, I don't know what it is yet, so I call it x. Now here, one strategy is just to flip both sides of the equation. This is allowed. We therefore know that 24 over 6 is equal to x over 2. Okay. Now, let's go ahead and multiply both sides by 2. 2, so these cancel here, count. And then 2 and 6 share the factor 2. That leaves a factor 3 there. So x is equal to 24 divided by 3, which is what we got the other way by using our thinking brain. And that was 8 is equal to x. So this is 8. All right, now what about this over here? This one is uglier. All right, let's take a look. Well, there's really not like a number that jumps out at you, is there? That's because this number is a fraction. This number is a decimal. So this way, I would write it out like this. 4 over 9 is equal to x. Again, I don't know that number, divided by 56. Okay. Let's go ahead and multiply both sides by 56. And then we'll cancel. That was to get us x alone on that side. And then 54 divided by 9, 56. 56 divided by 9. 56 does not share any factors with 9. 9 is just 3 times 3. 56 is not divisible by 3 because 5 plus 6 is 11. And so this is already in lowest terms. We just have to do it. We just have to do 56 over 1 multiplied by 4 over 9. So that's 56 times 4, which happens to be 224. 224 divided by 9 is equal to x. That's that. Okay. So we did some equivalent fractions there. That's cool. And so that we would call proportions. Now let's do applications with proportions. Number 6. All right. So cool. With these applications questions, if you can visualize the situation, that's fantastic. Do so, and it will help you get the correct answer. If you can't visualize it, draw it. Drawing it is another visualization idea. All right, so let's see. Mary reduced the width and height of a painting proportionally, such that the new width is 3.3 inches. What's the new height of the painting if it was originally this many tall and that many inches wide? Okay, so let's draw the original painting. 32.5 inches tall and 42.9 inches wide. So here, it's a little bit wider than it is tall. Okay, this is 32.5. This is 42.9. And then she scales the whole thing down so that it's now 3.3 inches. And we want to know this x. Okay, we want to know how big that is. All right. So here are some things that we could set up. We could set up the ratios. So it's going to be proportional to one another. So the ratio of the height to the width is going to be the same in the painting and the original. So we know that, let's put our unknown on the top. So x is our unknown. And it corresponds with 32.5. So 32.5 divided by 42.9 is equal to some number divided by 3.3. Okay. So to solve this one, we're going to do the same thing we've been doing with other questions, is multiply by 3.3 both sides. Now, I don't have the patience to test 3.3 and 42.9 if they share factors. They certainly share a factor like 0.3. Do they share the factor 1.1? And I don't think they do. They do. 42.9 is divisible by 3.3. So I don't care. I'm just going to do this on a calculator. Right, this is a calculator question. So get out your calculator. And what we got here is what we want to do. So we want 3.3 multiplied by 32.5 divided by 42.9 equals 2.5. Okay, there's a nice answer for us. So 2.5 equals what we had on the other side of the equation. But this had already canceled that, so on the other side of the equation was x. So now all that's left is to write a sentence. And then Mary reduced the width. What is the new height of the painting? So we will just answer. This is the question that we want to answer in our sentence. So we will say the new height of the painting is 2.5. And what are they? Inches. And then that's done. So that takes us through all of those skills. So once you get to a point like that, you're feeling pretty confident. Some other things that I've shown you in this video, and you can use this in a lot of places, is to use your calculator to check your work. Like over here, 5 over 2 times 10 over 7. If I do this, 5 divided by 2 multiplied by 10 divided by 7 equals, I get this ugly decimal that's 3.5714, blah, blah, blah. Okay, let's check my answer here, 25 over 7, clear. 25 divided by 7 equals 3.5714. You can use your calculator to check your answers to be really confident in your work. That's not like cheating, that's checking. And that's being sure that you've done everything correctly. So that's really going to help you with your accuracy and giving you a way to check. Just use your calculator and check the equal sign after you're done, making sure everything still equals everything else that you've written. That's it for now for that one. Thank you for showing up for your learning. If you have any questions about any of this material, hit me with an email or find me in class or find me at lunch. I'm very available to you to get you ready for your exam. Bye for now, everybody.